All right, we should be good, right? Is that better?
Now I got to edit, you jerk.
Well, we're back. It's fixed. Just don't touch the equipment. That's rule number one. Don't touch the equipment. So you didn't want to be drunk wearing the Milwaukee Pro Soccer doing videos about me wearing the logo on your head and the one on your chest?
I just swore a little too much for my liking.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. I'm repping the Pro Soccer. I'm a brand ambassador.
Are you a brand ambassador now for Milwaukee Pro Soccer? And what is Milwaukee Pro Soccer?
Well, Mike, thanks for asking. Milwaukee Pro Soccer is a USL League One team that's going to kick off in 2025. And you can actually name the team if you go to Milwaukee Pro Soccer's website. And we're taking suggestions and more details to come. A lot of the answers right now are more details to come.
Gotcha. Are there, like, favorites to win?
The team name? A lot of people like a Bruce City FC or a Cream City FC. I think those are trash. I like Goodland FC or MKE FC. Those are my two front.
All right. Well, so back to the Packers. So you can't, you can't say anything when they're 4-8. That's not going to, because I did a whole podcast on all your get-right games are done, and there's nothing that's going to change. And actually, if you watch, like, a lot since the bye week has actually changed on offense and on defense. And, you know, one thing that fans don't want to do, and I don't know if you actually like doing this, Bart, is actually giving credit when things change. You know, like Joe Barry may have actually coached himself to keeping his job unless the defense blows it against Detroit or in the playoffs and they give up 50 or whatever. But, like, the defense has been really good lately.
Yeah, and the defense has been good and the offense has been fine. And I just don't like that. Like, I don't like that they had to get their backs against the wall before they, like, turned it on. And I know the schedule got a little easier, but the schedule was easy and they had leads against the Giants. You know, the Packers don't go overseas to London finally and lose. And then they blew a lead in the second half. They lost at home to Zach Wilson and the Jets. They lost to a Commanders team that wasn't trying to win that football game. So I just, you know, to go to 4-8 again, and this was kind of part of my Rodgers thing, because I think back to the RELAX year, and I think back to the run the table, and it's like it's always got to be some little cute thing, and we have to get our backs against the wall and then climb out of the hole and just go win and play well, and they weren't doing that. And I looked around and thought, there's no way. I argued for Jordan Love to be the starter. I want to see Jordan Love. I still think that they have to figure that out. And I thought their playoff chances, suddenly 538 is like the greatest website of all time. People hate it for always. And then it tells you that the Packers have a 1% chance. You're like, well, I saw this website over here. They got a 1% chance to win the playoffs deal. It's like, but they don't though. There's no way they win the playoffs. So they did get better. And I was talking about this on the show earlier this week. Them moving Nixon to the punt and kick return guy, like, that was a big move. That was a massive move. And you wish they would have done it sooner. Now, I know he doesn't have a ton of experience, but they should have at least moved on from Rodgers sooner, Amari. And just a little thing like that has completely turned this team around. The defense has more momentum than you could ever imagine at this point. Rodgers is, like, better now that he got his hair cut. I 100% believe that.
I bet you do. That sounds like a total Bart Winkler conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy. They sucked when he looked like an idiot, and now they're good that he's a hottie again. There's the lines are right in front of your face. Very easy to see.
Defensively, I mean, scheme. I read something today. They went from being a blitz all the time defense to the lowest blitz rate in the league, and it gives, you know, they're playing a deep safety with Rudy Ford. Like, what the hell are we talking about here? But everything that Barry used to do, they don't do anymore, and they don't have Rashawn Gary anymore. You know, it's like, hey, we're gonna just keep Jair 9 yards off the ball on one side of the field. Well, you let him chase Justin Jefferson around, and look what happens. He ruins fantasy football championships left and right. But he did. it's like everything that fans, Twitter fans who know more than Joe Barry or know more than Matt LaFleur, everything that people have been screaming for, run the ball, stop using Amari Rodgers, let Jair cover the number one wide receiver. We were all right. Like, that doesn't happen. We were all right.
Yeah, because they were very inept. I think that a lot of times football coaches get this level of credit that they don't deserve, and they got to figure it out like everybody else. It's so we can see more, we know more. And again, we don't live, eat, sleep, breathe the game, but sometimes that could be a problem too. Like Joe Barry came in wanting to run Joe Barry's defense. Well, Joe Barry's defense was on the 0-16 Lions. He had on paper what I thought was one of the best defenses in the league. I mean, if you go up and down that roster, you're like, oh my God, these guys are all on one team. I don't think that anybody could have got it as poorly wrong in the beginning as Joe Barry did. And now what he needs to do is play to your guys' strengths. Whatever his scheme is, don't do your scheme. They went back to Joe Barry first half stuff in the second half of that game, and they were giving up a bunch of passes again, and Hawkinson's over the middle, and Cook's starting to run a little bit. And then finally, Kenny Clark swats the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hands because even when the scheme's bad, the players are at a point where they could play above a bad scheme. But the play I loved out of that game, I've talked about this too, is when Jair's on Jefferson the whole time. There was one play I saw where he just goes up and pushes Jefferson at the line, then covers someone else, and someone's ready to cover Jefferson next. That's what you do. You have Jair Alexander, who comes out and says, fluke, fluke, fluke. He's talking he gets essentially he and the Packers give this guy 9 for 182 and 2 touchdowns. They're going to see him again. And he says that was a fluke. And normally when you say that, and it's Justin Jefferson you're going against, Justin Jefferson's going to win. But Jair stepped up to it. Taunting him right away was great. The defense feeding on that. And that's why I'm really optimistic about, the Packers. And again, I don't know what kind of run it's going to be, but if they're going to have a nice run, it's the defense is what I've liked all along. Don't make Rodgers do too much. You've got a great running game. To me, it's all about the defense. It's about the defense and the special teams not giving it away. And when it looked like they gave it away with that block punt, they got it right back with the touchdown. So, yeah, they got better. And thankfully, at 4-8, there's a lot of teams that get presented in that scenario. Like the Raiders were 6-8, and they needed all this stuff to happen for them to win out. And they didn't win out, but none of the other stuff happened. It was so improbable for the Packers to be in this spot. I just wanted them to win first, and then we'll realize all the other stuff. But if you were following it along the way, all that other stuff happened. So it must have been fun. This year's probably a lot more fun for a lot of people. I just started having fun 5 days ago.
I kind of quit getting mad and angry tweeting during games when they became 4-8. It was just like, go out and win. And I know people are always like, oh, a tank for a better draft pick. The players don't care about a draft pick. Players don't care. Jair Alexander, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, they don't care about draft picks. All right. They only get 17 of these things every year. They all want to hit numbers because they all have yardage and touchdown goals, catch goals, whatever. And anybody was like, they got to tank. They got to tank. No, they're not going to tank. They're going to go out and try to win, and you see what happens. And when their playoff percentage went from 4 to 9 to 13, and then all of a sudden Christmas Day, everything fell on Christmas Day. I don't know what you were doing during that Dolphins game. I was drinking an entire bottle of Chardonnay because my family was all asleep, and it was amazing. And I'm like, all these things are actually happening. And then the Commanders started Carson Wentz last week, and I'm like, in a must-win game, to keep your playoff hopes alive, you chose to start Carson Wentz as opposed to Heineke, who had gone 5-2 or 5-3 as a starter or whatever. It was like a gift from God. I had one guy tweet me, a guy named Tim, who said that was a fix, that the NFL wants the Packers in, and that's why the Commanders,
wow,
started Wentz, because the NFL wanted them to do that to get Green Bay into the playoffs. That's some of the lunacy that we're dealing with. But
well, the NFL putting the Packers on Sunday night, this guy's theory's, looking a little better because that is an unfair advantage of the Packers. And that, I can't rip on Aaron Rodgers because the power of Aaron Rodgers got the Packers in prime time, got them to possibly play a Lions team that has nothing to play for instead of throwing the game they would normally pick in Tennessee and Jacksonville, because it is a true winner go home for those teams. And for the Packers, it's winner go home for them, but they'd rather have the allure of Aaron Rodgers winner go home than two teams battling for their division. So I guess I have to give them a little bit of credit, huh?
You read Ryan Wood's piece on Rasul Douglas and Jair this week?
Yes, it was tremendous. I love all of Ryan Wood's work. And I'd like you've always been better at recalling articles than I have in processing. So if you could just reset the table for me. It's something you're better at. You got to recognize your strengths and weaknesses. So go ahead. Tell us about the article that I read.
That you read.
Twice.
Joe Barry said to the defensive backs,
yeah,
you guys, Rasul, and to Jair,
he said,
you guys figure it out. You figure out who's going to.
Was that the part where he goes, it's not up to me. You guys have to do this.
You guys decide if it's going to be Jair one-on-one or if you're going to share the sides and if somebody's going to chase him around.
Yeah.
So you remember. Yeah, I'm sure you do. So Jair said, I'm trying to get this correct, I want to take him. And he said, get back to me. And so one of them is in the cold tub on Friday, and I think Jair walked up to Rasul and said, I'm going to follow him. And Rasul Douglas said, I know you are. I knew you were the whole week. And he did. I don't know what that says about Barry putting all of that on the...
It says, so we just gave him credit, but what he's doing is he's coaching less.
Is he coaching less, or is he trusting his guys?
I don't know. It seems like the more he gets out of the way, the better they do.
If they are now, by the way, they've had all these takeaways and they're like a top 5 defense, especially in the fourth quarter in this win streak. You think Barry comes back?
I mean, it's hard to fire him now. And Matt LaFleur gave him a hug on the sidelines the other day. That was like a basically you're rehired hug. LaFleur's not going to fire. This is the problem with LaFleur. He won't fire guys until it's too late. So you could save it's very easy to save your job.
I mean, as long as they don't, if they lose, I mean, all things, I'm guessing they have to go to San Francisco, right? In theory, they're going to have to go to San Francisco. And that meme that was all over is like, don't let Aaron Rodgers sneak into the playoffs only to get bounced in the NFC Championship game by the San Francisco 49ers is actually right. If they go to San Francisco and lose 24-17, does Barry get fired?
I think there's at the point now. I mean,
if they lose 45-17, he's gone.
Then maybe I don't feel like he's getting fired at this point. Under a normal coach, that might still be up in the air, but under Matt LaFleur, and what are you going to do? You're going to fire him and go hire Jim Leonard?
That's what everybody wants. That's what all the Bart Winkler podcast listeners want.
No, they don't. They want me hired.
To do what?
I could have told this defenders to go just do what you want. I can do that. Hey, Joe Barry, is he great? Why? What do you do? What was his big thing? Oh, he just told the defenders to cover what they wanted.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Genius.
It's not bad. Not bad at all. So what else you want to talk about?
How do you think they do in the playoffs?
If they have San Francisco, they're toast. They can't. There's a bugaboo. There's a ghost. There's I don't know if you heard this or not, but Aaron Rodgers grew up a 49ers fan from California and was passed over by San Francisco in the NFL draft. I know that's breaking news for you here. I got that from Ryan Wood. That's big news. I'm sick of that narrative. I was talking to my boss at Laser today, and he's like, I love that narrative. I'm like, I hate that narrative. It's the same. I mean, we've been listening to it forever. And what has it gotten? Green Bay against San Francisco in the playoffs. Colin Kaepernick twice last year, 3 years ago in the NFC title game when they got curb stomped like 50-2 or whatever it was. Like, I don't want they can't beat San Francisco. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If it's Kaepernick, if it's Brock Purdy, if it's Jimmy Garoppolo, it doesn't matter. I don't want San Francisco. But if they beat the Lions, and I think they will, but if they beat the Lions and the Niners beat Arizona, and then they have to go to San Francisco and they're going to get beat in the Bay. And then people are going to be like, you wasted another year of Rodgers' prime.
Well, and that's why I don't want to get too high on this team.
Agreed.
Because, and one of the things I said earlier this year was we are entitled town. And that's okay. Like, we root for the Green Bay Packers. We're not a team that should be, well, I hope we lose next week for a draft pick. That's not, we're the Packers.
Chicago does that. The Bears are doing that this year.
We also, it's the 1 year, it was 2013, and Rodgers got hurt, then he came back. They beat the Bears in Soldier Field, won the NFC North, and it was fun because the season was over, but then they came back, and that's kind of like what's happening now. But you had Rodgers this whole time. So we're acting like we're this meddling underdog when we should be one of the teams that are hosting a game. We should be one of the team. I mean, with this team, we should be that, but because we were so bad and it seemed like it was over and now we've risen, now it's going to be fun. And now we're going to get bounced. I don't know, but if we get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, people are going to say, well, man, it was fun that we got back there. When at the beginning of the year, if you said the Vikings are going to win the North, you'll go 9-8, lose week 1 in the playoffs to San Fran, you'd say, like, then just play Jordan Love. Like, why are we going to go through that again? Why do that again? But because of the emotional roller coaster this year's been on, we're going to end up losing if we do at some point. And I really don't have a feel on the playoffs at all. They're winning against Detroit. This is like when the Bucks won Game 5. Everyone just assumed they were going to win Game 6. There was no question about it. They've already won this game. Again, why do we do that? Why do we make these claims?
We're recording this, right? This is on video and audio.
But that's what it feels like. So I don't know. I don't like that as Packer fans. We demand such. We're like, only one Super Bowl with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, 1 each, and then we're 4-8, and we're like, well, we still have a chance. Like, I don't like that. I wish we embraced the title town a little more.
Football's weird, man. If I would have told you back in August that come week 18, the Packers were playing the Lions for the 7 seed, and the winner goes to face Brock Purdy and the 49ers, you would have said I was drunk, which in August I may have been drunk at some point. But, like, football is nuts, man. Like, the Bengals were the 6th seed last year, and the Bengals have Burrow and Chase and Higgins and that offense, but they got hot, like the Nationals a couple of years ago. They got red hot after their terrible start, and they had Strasburg and Scherzer. That helps, but you just the Packers in 2010 were the 6th seed, and you just never ever know. And I agree with you what you said earlier. Like, I'm done getting real passionate. I'm now a fan again, because everything that you watch and we're all critical about. It was not changing. They weren't sticking to the run game. They had no receiver. They were starting Royce Newman at right guard. The defensive backs were playing 11 yards off the ball. Every deep crossing route that you and I could see sitting on our couch when you're on your 4th rum and Coke and I'm on my 9th White Claw, and you can see Justin Jefferson doing this, coming across. Like, everything. I was at one point, I took a week off from doing the podcast because I was like, you know what? I'm doing the same podcast over and over again. I'm just repeating myself because it's the same crap that I just said last week. So I don't want to waste people's 22 minutes that I'm going to, put my heart and soul into.
How do you think I felt when I listened to your show 4 days a week? God, it was the same thing all the time.
We did the show 5 days a week.
Still. It was, hey, player, check out this. And you're going, I'm going on vacation to a 4-day festival on the planet that Avatar's on, and we're just going to get drunk and camp out and not shower, and there's a lazy river and same show. every day.
Write that one down for the promo. That
I did the
teaser
same.
video. Teaser video.
Did you see the Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp? Did you see the Shannon Sharp Skip Bayless thing?
Yeah. Before I do that, can I do something real quick? Can I read a sponsor?
Mm-hmm.
You cool? You cool if I read a sponsor?
Yeah.
You know our buddies at Great Lakes Dragaway, right?
And I can okay. I'm gonna charge Roy then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge Roy.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's getting on my podcast. I'm charging.
Yeah, that's fine. Our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway have been sponsoring the podcast Wicked on Wisconsin all week. You should also check out the Bart Winkler podcast because Bart's been a good friend of the guys down at Great Lakes Dragaway. You know the phrase, I feel the need for speed. It's back after Top Gun Maverick came out. The fastest quarter mile in the Midwest is in Union Grove, Wisconsin. Go get a gift card for the gearhead that you forgot to buy a Christmas gift for. Or if you're like me and you have 11 birthdays in the month of January, one of them is probably going to be a motor racing fan. Get that gift card, GreatLakesDragaway.com. They're going to come back in the spring when the snow is done. Bike nights, nitrous nights, hot rods. Get the entire schedule, GreatLakesDragaway.com. GreatLakesDragaway.com. They're back coming up in the spring. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Speaking of birthdays coming up, if you've got somebody in your life that likes gummies, happyplacehemp.com, 25% off every order at happyplacehemp.com. We're talking the Delta 8s, Delta 9s.
I love Delta 9, by the way.
THCOs.
I'm a fan of Delta 9. I'm a big fan of it.
There you go. You go to happyplacehemp.com. The promo code is BART. You get 25% off every single order.
Woo!
And there's a guy in Des Moines, Joe, jumps on my podcast, and he says that in Iowa they can't get it sent to them. Is that true?
That's not true because we get some sent to us.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Joe's just baiting me because I then told him that I'd drive down and give him some.
Well, you can come hang out with me. Bring some gummies for him and for me. I like the nighttime ones.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. CBD and CBN.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of CBD. It's so, like Iowa's weird, man. Like Wisconsin's real weird. Iowa's weird too. Like it's kind of legal here, but it's not. It's super strange. But happyplacehemp.com. And what's my code?
The promo code is BART.
One more time.
B-A-R-T.
It's like when Leroy and Gary used to do the things. Leroy would just shout at Gary that promo code one more time.
I will come to Des Moines if Milwaukee ends up playing there in the NCAA tournament.
Or Wisconsin?
No, I would only travel for Milwaukee.
You're only traveling for the Panthers? You're not traveling for the Badgers or Marquette?
No, I watch them on TV. If the Panthers are going, I'm traveling for sure.
All right.
The Bart Winkler show is it's the official podcast, I would think, of Milwaukee Panthers basketball.
Well, if you come to Des Moines, you stay with me. I'm 15 minutes from Wells Fargo Arena, where the NCAA. I've been to the NCAA tournament. I've been hammered at the NCAA tournament in downtown Des Moines. So if that happens, if you want to come for a Wisconsin or Marquette too, I got a spot for you.
That's why I like talking to you because when I'm like doing the post game shows, I might have a drink, and people are like, "Oh, Bart, geez." But meanwhile, I've heard that you drank an entire bottle of champagne by yourself on Christmas Eve.
Chardonnay.
You're pounding White Claws as we speak.
I am.
Every time I don't see where the bottle goes. Every time it comes up, it's actually a new flavor. It's like new bottles are coming up. It's wild.
You asked about Skip Bayless before our promo rants. People are sheep. Now,
No, but I don't want to. I don't want to get into that. Just watching Skip and Shannon.
I saw it.
That was like what me and Chuck were for a period. Where
Yeah,
it was
you were.
raw, real. This is uncomfortable. I'm going to watch it again.
See, the difference between the two of Shannon and Skip and you and Chuck I believe you and Chuck, because I had those moments with Chuck.
Yeah.
I believe you guys you didn't go in saying, hey, I'm going to mention my brother Sterling, who was paralyzed on the ground or had his spine wrecked on the ground, and then I want you to interrupt me. I think Shannon and Skip, the producers know what they're doing when those shows are on. I think it was an incredible troll job by Skip Bayless, who is a great villain. I don't respect his opinions, but the man makes $8 million a year. Shannon has to make some sort of millions of dollars a year. So for Undisputed, a show I have never actually seen an entire episode in my life, to figure out a way to get the attention of the injury that happened on Monday night onto the show and to steal the spotlight, they leaned into Skip and Shannon. They leaned into, hey, I believe this. This is just me knowing the business this much. They told Shannon to skip Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe Shannon Sharp just didn't want to be there. And I tweeted this with somebody, and all these people like, you think that's an act? You're an idiot. They called me every name in the book, kind of like Tulane fans did when I called their team JV. But that is scripted TV. It's not real. It's not raw. You and Chuck were real. Chuck and I were real. What you and I are doing is mostly real, except you're high on CBD. I just think that people don't understand that the debate shows that we see, especially when it's those two, it's not 100%, oh my gosh, did you hear what he said? No one's that big of a dick. All right?
Yeah, but Skip actually might be.
I can't imagine, but you're not allowed.
One thing, this is not about Skip. This is about everybody. This is about anybody. Like, I don't know, like you say things and you do things and you're like, I understand that it's going to give me attention and whatever. But when it gets to the point where nobody likes you, I mean, is that worth it?
You tell me. Nobody likes you. Everybody was a Chuck Freeman fan. Everybody loved Horvat. Everybody loves Toby, whoever that is, on your podcast. What about, I don't know who that is, but he's on your podcast a lot. I see the Octobox come across my Twitter feed all the time.
Yeah, I love the Octobox. You're right.
Like, you told people you wanted the Dolphins to win. You don't say that just because you're disliking Aaron Rodgers. Like, you're trying. I didn't say Tulane was JV because I was like, oh.
No, I wanted
Tulane.
the Dolphins to win. I wanted the Dolphins to win because I didn't want the Hopi and Packer fans to be right.
No. How do you feel now?
Scoozy Whatsy?
Are you rooting for Green Bay to beat? Are you rooting for Green Bay to beat the Lions?
I'm all in now. Yes.
Oh, we're back on the bandwagon with the keys.
I'm driving the bandwagon, and if you're not on quick enough, I'm gonna run you over. Get on.
I think Shannon and Skip are
jump on the windows, hang on the bottom, hang on the top.
I just saw a bus on Facebook Marketplace with a flat top deck, good room for 30 bikes. It has space for 30 bikes, got benches all around. It's painted black. There's a big bike rally here in Iowa that goes from the west side of the state to the east side of the state. It's called Ragbri, and it was built for Ragbri. And I'm like, man, that is built for a party bus to go to Lambeau. So is that your bandwagon, the $7,000 bus I could buy in Des Moines?
I'm not spending money on buses, not in Wisconsin, where you can go to the middle of the state and there's just broke down buses sitting in people's lawns. All you got to do is say, you still got the keys for this? And they'll be like, hey, if it runs, it's yours. Findlay, Wisconsin is always the town I think of.
Who is Toby, by the way, that's always on your podcast?
Toby was my producer.
Was he?
After Horvat.
We need to get Horvat on this podcast. You, me, and Horvat need to get on this podcast.
We could do that. Did he ever pay you the money he owed you?
No, he did not. He has not yet paid, although he hasn't paid for his NFL playoff squares that I run. So I'm assuming it's going to be one lump sum. But I don't know. We'll see.
This playoff squares thing you do, man.
What? For those that
You're
don't
asking
know,
for money December 1st.
No, I didn't ask for money December 1st. I asked for a yes or a no.
There shouldn't even be a text about it.
Absolutely there should. I got to organize 24 Yahoos to join my NFL playoff squares Christmas is
Takes
coming.
you a month and a half.
I just put the bug in your ear, and then I waited 6 days to be like, hey, a reminder, just a yes or a no. I have 3 kids in a morning show, Winkler. I am a busy guy. I don't have time to wait around for you.
I send my kid to daycare so I can take a nap.
I got 3 of them, man. You know how expensive that would be? You know how hard it would be to get 3 toddlers to daycare? Hey, I have to do another sponsor up read here real quick, so you can think about the next topic you want to talk about. All right.
Oh no, I'm done.
If your marketing agency is underperforming or you don't have a digital marketing game, contact my guy Nick Packard. All right, he's right there in Franklin, Wisconsin. He's going to help your small or your medium business grow. NP Connect, it is the marketing agency redefined. If you're trying to figure out why no one's looking or finding you when they're looking for you on Google or whatever, it's because your SEO sucks. That's your search engine optimization. He can take a look at your website, your social, your email, and figure out why no one's finding you until page 3 and 4, and God forbid 5 when they're using Google. That's how he does, man, and he works directly with you. Small, medium-sized businesses, he's got packages for every single budget. So if you're looking to up your digital marketing game, Nick Packard, NP Connect, online, nickpackard.com. Plus, he's fractional. You're only paying for the time that you use. No retainer fees, none of that kind of stuff. nickpackard.com. And just for listening to this podcast, especially this one with Bart Winkler, all you got to do is go online today, tell them you heard the podcast. You get a free digital ecosystem assessment of your email, of your social, of your website to see where you stand. NP Connect, online, nickpackard.com. Tell them Wicked said hi. Tell them Bart Winkler said hi, too. Nothing on the box? Nothing on Luke Fickell?
You know, a guy like you, a guy like you with 3 kids, you probably looking for some time to unwind, but living in the Midwest, it's like, how can I get out and get any time? Well, what if that time came to you? What if you had a golf simulator in your basement? I know you've got the space.
I do.
Carl's
have
place
the
can
space,
help you out.
actually. I've got a huge basement.
Carl of ET.com. There is a referral link as well right on my Twitter at Wings Things. And you can think, well, can I fit one here? Can I not? They can customize it with all the bells and whistles that you need or require. If you just want a space to hit golf balls, they'll give you a space to hit golf balls. But if you want the latest technology that can then give you a video of how you're shooting and tips on how to shoot better, those are available as well. Carl of ET.com. It's Carl's place. Tell him Wicked sent you.
So do people now, if the Packers win, like, are people all in on the Bucs yet? Because it doesn't feel like it. I know Giannis had 53 the other night or 55 the other night.
Yeah, 55. People are in on the Bucs. Yeah, people are watching the games.
Mm-hmm.
People are into it. I went the other night, Friday the 30th. It was packed, 90s night, fun, good comeback against Timberwolves.
90s night.
You know,
anybody
perform?
perform?
The Wizards. Not this time.
What? Dude, I've been to 90s night a bunch when it was the Bradley Center. Vanilla Ice was there. Coolio was there.
But now every time they wear their purple, it's like 90s night. It's weird. I don't like it.
No.
But they, people are really engaged. I think that this is a long season and the Bucs can kind of sleepwalk a little bit. And we're kind of learning we're learning what we need to know about how they win again. They need Middleton healthy. They're going to need these guys to knock down more shots when Giannis gives them the ball. You can't have Giannis suck 3-4 guys in the paint and then Grayson Allen go 0 for 7. And they have good nights, Allen, Ingles, Pat, but they have to have better nights consistently. And they got to play the younger guys better. But yeah, people are watching it. I think pretty engaged, knowing that these are just the early chapters in a long novel. But sometimes the pages piss them off, and you talk about it. And so, but yeah, there's definitely, yes, high engagement.
Let me ask you this, because I don't watch every Bucs game, and I will probably, obviously, in the second half of the season because I'm so wrapped up in football as we all are. But do people really want to fire Bud? I mean, I was on the fire Bud train before they won, and I regressed. I've taken that back completely. But so many people, I've seen a lot of Bucs Twitter. We need to make a move. We need to fire Bud. Like, don't people understand that a healthy Giannis, Drew, and Chris makes them elite? And right now, it's like every third day, Drew is out. There's no Middleton. Giannis missed time. Like they're just not. This first half has been so filled with injury.
Yes. The thing with Bud, the big thing with Bud is he's not giving these young guys enough time. Like Beauchamp comes in there and has 4 really good games, and he rides the pine for 2 weeks, and nobody knows why. And it's stuff like that. So I think the thing with Bud is how much of the Bucks' success is because of Coach Bud. People are not going to give him a very high percentage. So if there's a better coach out there that could
his
give
winning
more.
percentage for his career is insane. Like what he did before.
So is Matt LaFleur's. I don't think he's a very good coach. Yeah. Chew on that.
You rooting against Green Bay this weekend?
No, I'm rooting against the Brewers, though, if they think signing Wade Miley is going to move the needle.
The Brewers have barely spent more than you and me spent during Christmas. It's ridiculous. I saw they have the least amount of money spent in all of Major League Baseball. Like, what is
Well, it went up now. Wade Miley, $4.5 million with another $1.5 in incentives. Wade Miley, that's real. That wasn't a joke. They signed Wade Miley. And they traded for your guy, Bryce Wilson.
How is Bryce Wilson my guy? How is he my guy?
Because you're big. Because BW. Me, BW. You love BWs.
You're the only BW I love, Bart. You're the only one. And Brian Wilson.
Thanks.
That's it. All right. Are you done? Because you have
Brian
a Bucks
Windhorst?
game. You know, no, Brian Windhorst proved you don't have to be attractive to be on TV and be successful.
Wow, rude. Yes, I am done. I'm going to have to edit some of this since your internet's awful.
Mine? It's probably more like it's the computer's getting old. I may have to upgrade. Yeah.
Your internet's been cutting out the whole time.
I got you loud and clear.
Yeah.
Well, my version of our podcast will probably be better than
choppy.
yours. Oh, well, shit. Mine's going to be better than yours then. All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on.
You give me yours.
All right. You've been great. You've only cut out one time.
Thanks for having me on.
This has been Wicks and Winks, the Bart Winkler podcast, Wicked on Wisconsin. Thank you for listening. Find us everywhere you get every podcast. Later, buddy.
Bye, Mike.